2 Corinthians 5 through 7. For we walk by faith and not by sight.
Hello.
Hi.
Who are you and what is your story?
My name is Malika. I'm 23 years old, originally from New York City, born in Brooklyn. My parents, when they had me, they were kids themselves. We had really good times, but they were figuring out who they were, as well as everybody else. My family was my biggest support. Like, the love that they gave me, when I was a baby. It was a love that I never forget. I always felt safe. I always felt like I belonged there. When I got older, though, my dad made the conscious decision, my mom too, for me to move to Florida for just a better life. They wanted more for me, and I'm happy that they did do it. But in that process, it was such a painful process because I would go to school. I was the only kid without like mom and dad being together, you know what I mean? And then it happened to where as though I never really had that in my life. Like, I've never had that. My dad was like working as the single parent, so I didn't really have the attention. I just went from being little with a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of love to now being in a place that I felt like a complete outcast. I felt like a stranger. Their way of living was different, Um, and it really put me in a spot where I was a little depressed. But when you're little, you don't really notice because you don't even know what depression is. You're trying to learn how to tie your shoes, You're trying to learn how to be a kid and enjoy being a kid. So during that time, I was bullied. I didn't look like the other kids. My hair wasn't really groomed. My dad tried to do the best that he could. I didn't have the cute little lunches. I wasn't your typical little girl, but I did have a heart of gold. I loved everybody because that was shown to me. And through the bullying, growing up, it didn't just start there when I was in elementary school. Just growing up in high school, the little talks, little side notes, me not knowing who I am as a person, me not feeling like I knew who I was as a person really bothered me because I felt like I was in an identity crisis my whole entire life. People didn't, I felt, love me the way I loved them. People hurt me, And it's like, how do you still love people through that hurt? How do you still love people through that pain, How do you still be this good person that everybody expects you to be? I mean, the way I was shown love. And I knew that love was possible because I've seen it before. I felt alone. I felt hopeless. My body, I didn't really know anything about like certain aspects in life. And my dad tried to do the best that he possibly could, but he was still growing as a man, So what can I say as a kid? You're just angry at everybody because you're like, I'm a kid. How come it seems like everybody has their stuff figured out, but I don't have anything figured out? Instead, I'm left with people who don't like me, who don't love me, who don't respect me, and who make fun of me. I met my best friend, Kyla, in high school. She really helped me. And she helped me in the biggest way that you can possibly help somebody. Because even though I felt like I belonged, I still felt like an outcast. When I went back to visit my family, I felt like I didn't belong because I was gone for so long. The love was different, wasn't the same. Because I'm older. I just felt incomplete. She took me to church, her and her sister. And I started going, and starting to really figure out about God and who he was. I'm like, who is this guy that talks about like love so much? You know, who is this man? Who is he? Because I'm hurting and I don't know how to cope with it. I'm crying at night. I'm depressed. You know, I don't like being around a lot of people because I don't know people's intentions. Like, who is this man? And who are these people that I'm around because I can't trust them? You know? And so now I kind of went from an understanding from finding, like, going there, getting an understanding, still dealing with, you know, coming up as a young woman without a mother. I love my mother, but I grew up without her. You understand what I'm saying? I grew up without her. And I was lost in a lot of areas in life. Like, how do I be? Do I be too soft? Like, how do I be? How do I act? You know. But the Lord was slowly planting his seeds, and Kyla slowly planted her seeds inside of me. And I understood the value in having a relationship with the Lord. In that time that I did go to church, I met people who were actually loving, met people who loved me, and it just didn't make sense because it was different. You know, you grow up with a family, you grow up with so much love, and then you get to a place where you're bullied and you go through a whole bunch of stuff, and you just like, man, like, how do these people, do these people really love me? Like, it can't be. It can't be. I don't trust you, you know? And I was always quiet. I was never one to really speak about myself or even like stand up for myself. I had really tough friends. A really tough friends, 4 friends that I spoke to every single day that really helped me. I went to church. I met Kyla. Kyla introduced me to the Lord. I started there. I started doing little Bible studies. But even so there, my life, my spiritual life came to a halt. And as you get older, you don't really understand the type of pressure that is filled when you're growing up, when you're graduating out of high school, when you're coming into your womanhood. It's like you're still, even though you know that the Lord is there, you're still in that identity crisis because you're still trying to figure out, where do you fit in? All these great things that you said about my life, the great things that you said about me, where does it fit in? You know, I can't see it. So, you know, you do the traditional thing. You go to school, you go to college, you go to work. I actually moved out and of my parents' house, my dad's house, and I met my partner. We were engaged. We moved out at a young age. Immediately after that moment in time, it was like 2 people trying to figure out who they are. 2 people that were broken that was trying to come together and figure out who we are, but also try to put from what we saw throughout our families, what we saw as normal, the things that society puts on this world, we try to pace everything and put each other back together, but really we didn't have the solid foundation to hold the glue. So every time there was a trial and tribulations, the hot water came down and everything fell apart. That was very important, and I was coming to a realization where I was looking into myself in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I was. The woman I was, I didn't like. I remember saying, like, I want to change. I remember telling the enemy, like, telling the Lord, please help me. Please help me. I feel like I'm all over the place. I was going out, I was drinking, I was partying, I started drinking myself away, eating myself away. Not eating at myself, but like eating a whole bunch of foods and just having really unhealthy habits, really unhealthy habits. And I decided to part from my partner. It was a very hard thing to do, but I was just telling the Lord, I was serious. I need to figure out who I am by myself, out of relationships, out of hardships, out of all this stuff coming down to me, the world coming at me, these negative things, people thinking that I shouldn't make it. I need to know who I am, and I know that this cannot be true. This can't be true. This is not all that is here for me. I know that I can do more. So I made the unconscious decision to break apart. It had nothing to do with my partner. And this needs to be known, because in youth, that's what happens. We get so caught up in our partner, so caught up in life, so caught up in the world that we really forget what we're here for. Really. So we went our separate ways. I started seeking the Lord. I started going back to church. I started needing him. He was like my CPR, my air for my lungs. My body couldn't function without him. I needed him. The times that I went back home to my own, and it's so different. You know, when you have your own place, your own everything, you have to convert back to moving with your parents. First of all, I felt embarrassed. But not only did I felt embarrassed, I felt defeated. Because it's like, can you commit to anything? You understand what I'm saying? Anything in your life. You know, it was hard for me. Yeah, it was just a different feeling. I remember like, I have no choice. Like, Lord, I need you. And it was at that moment, I had to deal with my thoughts a lot. I had to deal with my negative ways. I had to deal with how ugly my heart was. I really had to self-reflect. And through the process of going back to church, I started finding out who I was, my identity. I felt like I needed to share my testimony with others. I found my passions again. I felt my love, my heart went from solid rock to a live being heart with flesh. And what just, I just felt reborn. I felt like I can completely take over the world again. I felt like a new person. I felt like this is who he has called me to be. Like my life was being poured back into me, my body. He revealed certain things to me. He's opened my eyes. He's given me experiences in which I felt him like I never could before. But he also let me know that I'm not alone. And that he is always with me, no matter what happens. He would never let me go. And he showed me through the people that loved me. He showed me through the people that were complete strangers. You know, the love that I was trying to get but didn't really understand, because I was seeking the love in all the wrong places, where it was just truly him that I had to seek for guidance and for love and for understanding, because he wrote my story. As of now, I am faithful. I am going to tell my story to help others. I have a lot in store, and I cannot wait to share with everybody and help everybody and inspire everybody and allow them to know that they are okay. They have a Savior that loves them. Yeah.
So what is your channel about, and who is it for?
When I was first starting YouTube, or even thinking about starting YouTube, and when the Lord just started revealing certain things to me and bringing people my way, I thought it was just going to be for youth, which it mainly guides towards youth, because it starts in youth. And then youth trickles down into generation, and the cycle keeps on going, even till adulthood. So my channel are for people that have problems, real life problems, which in some cases is everybody, because nobody's perfect. There's real people that struggle with real depression, real addiction, real anxiety, the places that people have gone and seen, and homelessness. It's so much to talk about that's not being said, and I'm making it known that they are not alone. that there's people that lived and walked in their shoes, that has been through what they went through, but they are on the other side of the tunnel. They're just not speaking on it. And it's hard to see something happen. It's hard to feel like you can overcome something when nobody is sharing. And I'm not going to be silent anymore, because I want you to know that you're not alone. You have love. You have somebody who's committed to you. You have somebody that has faith and believes in you and that you will prosper. You're not your past. Whatever you've been through does not determine who you are today. There will be times of hardships, but there's also a way and a source in which you can get through it. I can't begin to think about all the people that I just wanted to help, because I never wanted anybody to feel alone like how I felt alone, ever. And there's so much more to talk about. But then again, you'll see that in this channel. But that's what my YouTube is about. That's what my word is about. That's what everything is about, him. I forever give the glory to him, because it's about his people too. And that's what it's about. That is what YouTube is about, my YouTube. Being able to help people really moved me. I'm passionate about it, because I want everybody to feel loved. There's no reason to. There's a lot of hate going on in the world. There's a lot going on. And nobody deserves to be treated as less when we are kings and queens. So I started Hidden Destiny, and it's a clothing line geared to faith, hope, inspiration, motivation, so that nobody can ever feel like they're by themselves. I'm the CEO, young entrepreneur. There's so much that I can truly talk about, but it would just go on and on and on and on. But welcome to my journey. Remember that you are not alone. If you can find any ounce of hope or inspiration, you can always come to this page. I'm here for you. I love you. And as always, blessings. As for my purpose, that's still in the works, because the Lord is still working on me. But I'm going to show you every step on my journey. Love.